TV revenue is really the devil here. That's the boogeyman. It's the why. It's the why these schools are driven to bend the rules, bring kids who are academically ineligible to come and play sports. And it can be huge numbers. I mean, Auburn, for instance, that when their coach Tommy Tuberville, he's since moved on, but had about a $4 million salary package. About $2.5 million was paid by ISP Sports, the media company that had bought their broadcast rights. That's a big chunk of the revenue and the salary structure for these big-time coaches. And the ISP contract for a school like Auburn, which is, you know, they're a big football school, but they're nowhere near a Michigan State or a Notre Dame. They paid $56 million for the television rights for that. So that goes a long way towards, it's sort of the incentive for these guys to produce a good team.
Does this money ever help fund scholarships?
In rare examples, it does. I'll give you two examples. One is Notre Dame. They had the first ever national broadcast contract with NBC. Again, their football team, because of alumni giving and ticket sales and that sort of thing, they're pretty much self-sustaining. The athletic department sustains itself. So when they got the national media contract, they said, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take the money and we're going to use it to, they were building a brand new science building. They used it to buy lab equipment. They used it to fund both undergrad and graduate scholarships. The other example is the University of Minnesota. They just built an on-campus stadium. TCF Bank is the sponsor, or bought the naming rights. One of the provisions in the naming rights contract was that they contribute X amount of dollars, I think it's about $1 million a year, to purely academic scholarships. But as I said earlier, most of this money stays within the athletic department. The athletic department is a separate entity, and it's used to fund the other non-revenue sports that don't make any money.
So what would happen if there were no TV revenues?
The programs would grow a lot smaller. I think that you would probably see some of the men's programs go away. I mean, one of the sort of, I'm going to use the word victims, but that's not the best word for it. When Title IX came along, which mandated that you have an equal number of women's sports for men's sports, there were a lot of men's sports that were axed, that were non-revenue sports. Wrestling was one of the big ones. There were a lot of wrestling programs. And swimming went away as well. And I think you would see a total shrinkage. I mean, at places like Ohio State and Texas, there's like 22, 24 varsity sports. I think you'd probably see that number go down to maybe 10 or 12. And it would all depend upon how much the football program and basketball program could support these other sports.
So how much does this TV revenue play a role in the conference realignment, do you think? Why this seismic shift in the conferences?
I think that's what Texas was looking at. I think they were looking at, because again, we'll go back to the Big 12, which they're a member of. They were trying to be wooed by the Pac-10. The Big 12 has a revenue sharing structure that's proportional. It's based upon your TV time, whether the number of times you're on national TV, your bowl appearances, that sort of thing. Texas dominates that conference. So it's really in their interest to stay in a conference where they have the dominant TV time and they get the dominant amount of revenues. This whole bowl and conference realignment thing is totally driven by TV money.
This excerpt is brought to you by the Massachusetts School of Law, the leader of reform in legal education and a leader in multimedia education for the public. To view the full interview and for a full listing of MSL's programs, log on to mslaw.edu.